Not BCAAs, but it'll do. One of the most frustrating things about being a nutrition coach, and especially being in the fitness space, is how much garbage people try to sell you to make money. So we're going to talk about 5 different types of supplements today that you don't need to make progress, and why specifically you don't need them. Now, of course, we need to start with the discussion of what are supplements and what are they used for. The name defines the purpose. They're used to supplement your diet, so increasing your intake of certain substances that you can't easily get through a regular intake. A multivitamin, vitamin D, vitamin C, those are supplements, as well as a protein powder is considered a supplement. Today we're going to be talking about performance-based supplements, things that are often seen in the fitness industry per se, especially kind of within the bodybuilding world. There's a lot of supplements out there specifically targeted towards new bodybuilders that need some debunking. The first supplement that we're going to talk about is BCAAs. That is short for branched chain amino acids. Branched chain amino acids are 3 essential amino acids, meaning that your body doesn't produce them on its own. Those are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Now, this is a supplement that you will often see performance athletes or bodybuilders taking before, during, or after their workouts, the kind of peri-workout period. And this is the time where we see the most kind of supplement use, because for obvious reasons, people think if I take more supplements, I'm going to be able to perform better in my workout and I'm going to see more results. So what are the claims that go along with BCAAs? The 2 main ones are that it reduces muscle fatigue and it increases muscle protein synthesis. Our first claim, that BCAAs help with muscle fatigue and soreness, is not well supported by the scientific literature. There are a couple of studies that show some sort of minor relationship between BCAA intake and muscle soreness, but there were some severe limitations with those studies, such as lack of control of protein intake and various other things to do with diet as well as training, that really make it not enough information to glean any sort of strong conclusion from. And that goes for any sort of supplement. You want to make sure that there's a big and consistent body of knowledge associated with it that's showing these benefits before you consider taking it or recommending that somebody takes it. Now, the main one that bothers me is the benefit number 2. That branched chain amino acids increase muscle protein synthesis, and so they help you make gains and make sure you don't go catabolic during your workout. This is one of those claims that we really see with people who are pushing intra-workout supplementation or taking supplements within your workouts. And the main idea with this one is that one of the BCAAs, leucine, is what's called a trigger for muscle protein synthesis. So essentially it signals to start muscle protein synthesis in the body. And so the idea is that when you're training, when you're doing resistance-based exercise, you're breaking down the muscle fibers, and that leads to free amino acids floating in your system. And so the idea behind the BCAA supplementation is that the leucine and the isoleucine and the valine, they will trigger your body into, instead of putting those amino acids out in the garbage, out with the waste, it'll trigger your body to instead reconvert those back into proteins and in the muscle. So therefore making your muscles bigger, helping you to recover faster. You're much better off taking an essential amino acid supplement, if not a complete protein, like a whey protein or an animal protein, or mixing up your plant-based proteins to get all the amino acids, because all of the 9 essential amino acids and the non-essential amino acids that your body produces are required to complete muscle protein synthesis. And so if you just have the 3 BCAAs, that's not enough to actually create muscle in the body. The second supplement we're going to talk about is glutamine, which is another amino acid. This one is labeled as conditionally essential, meaning that your body produces it itself, but there may be circumstances under which your body doesn't produce enough. And this is the route that people take on this to tell you should supplement with glutamine. It's very important for injury repair in the body. And people will take the example of doctors supplementing intravenous glutamine into victims of severe burns and assume that taking oral glutamine supplements will help you to repair your muscles. This is not a logical jump. This is not something that can be reasonably assumed from the body of information that we have. If anything, we have information that kind of suggests the opposite. So glutamine as an oral supplement is actually really, really bad for bioavailability. And the reason is that your gut uses glutamine a lot. And so when you take that glutamine supplement, it gets used in the gut, in the intestines, and likely actually doesn't make it into the muscles to do any sort of repair at all. As well, your body produces glutamine, and you can get glutamine from just about every food that contains protein, because assuming it's a complete protein, there is glutamine in there. A slight side note here is that if you're always training to the stage of DOMS where you're incredibly sore, that's probably not the best approach to training. Really, if you're properly structuring and progressing your training, you shouldn't have regular days where you are incredibly sore. If anything, training to that extent suggests that your program is actually not well suited to your competency level and to your training background. You should probably scale back to something that's a little bit more reasonable and more sustainable. Any sort of recovery supplement should be viewed with a critical eye. Your best forms of recovery are going to be sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night at least, drinking enough water, and training appropriately. So you don't need it. Supplement number 3 that you don't need to be using is a fat burner. So there are a bunch of different ingredients in fat burners. Some of the common ones are CLA, conjugated linolenic acid, L-carnitine, as well as caffeine, and sometimes thermogenic extracts like red pepper extract or something like that. And the research on these supplements, obviously, because fat loss is done through a caloric deficit, shows that these do not lead to sustained and significant fat loss over time. I really wish it did though. This would be a whole lot easier if fat burners actually worked. If fat burners worked, do you think people like me would actually have a job? People would just take fat burners and then get down to 8% body fat and then just live their life. When we look at a supplement in a close time frame, in a short window, it may tell one story, but then when we look at it long term, it tells a very different story. And fat burners are a situation where this is actually the case. So something like the thermic effect of food is an important marker for calorie burn. That's why fat burners often have some sort of thermogenic property to them. That's the reason they have caffeine, other than giving you the sensation of being more alert. But you have to remember that fat loss is done on a per need basis in the body, and it adjusts to lots of factors. And it's the reason why people hit plateaus all the time. And so taking a fat burner every day, while it may be effective in a very short term, when you extend that time window to a longer period, we see that the body adapts. And so while taking a fat burner on 1 week may cause a 100 calorie increase in your burn throughout the day, that's not a sustained 100 calorie increase that's going to persist for the length of time that you take the supplement, because your body is going to adapt. It's going to change and stop burning as many calories otherwise because it knows what's coming. Unfortunately, there are no real shortcuts for sustainable and meaningful weight loss, and particularly fat loss. Supplement 4 that you should not probably waste your money on is a test booster. Now this is mostly for guys. Competitive women may also use a test booster as well, but test boosters are what they sound like, something that supposedly boosts your testosterone levels, and then it follows that you would have more muscle, less fat, all those sort of properties that come along with high testosterone levels. And so a test booster technically is just anything that boosts your testosterone level. So what we're going to talk about is legal test boosters. There are lots of illegal anabolic substances, some naughty sauces as they're called sometimes, that will really substantially increase your testosterone levels, and those are completely different from the over-the-counter legal test boosters that we're covering in this. But do be critical of who is trying to sell you a test booster. If you're seeing an ad from somebody who's 5'5", 230 pounds, and 3% body fat trying to sell you a fat burner, chances are they're doing some extracurriculars on their own. They're sipping on a little bit of the naughty sauce on the side and trying to say that it's the fat burners that are doing it. It's not. If you are taking anabolic steroids and you are selling people test boosters saying that it's the reason why you look the way you do, then you are full of They are lying to you, unfortunately. They're taking anabolic steroids. It's just something that you have to accept. Another thing that I want to say about test boosters is that there is TRT or HRT, testosterone replacement therapy or hormone replacement therapy, that some people use who have chronically low levels of testosterone, whether it's for medical or other reasons. That is not the kind of test booster that we're talking about here. Obviously, consult your doctor. If your hormone profile is out of whack, your test levels are way too low, that's a conversation to have with a licensed medical professional. Basically, test boosters are usually just vitamins and minerals, and the main minerals that they have in there are usually zinc and magnesium. If you are deficient in zinc or magnesium, taking a supplement may help increase your testosterone levels to a regular healthy level, but taking additional zinc and magnesium isn't going to increase it past that. Now, there are tons of other fancy sounding herbs that people use in test boosters. None of them have a real scientific base for significantly increasing your testosterone levels unless you are ill or have highly suppressed testosterone levels for some medical reason. Test boosters are not going to be very helpful for you in the long run when it comes to health and performance. Supplement 5 you don't need is, I've talked about it before and I'll talk about it again, a post-workout protein shake. There is no anabolic window. There is no restricted time window within which you have to consume protein and carbohydrate after a workout to prevent muscle breakdown and make sure that you're not losing all your gains. A protein supplement may be helpful to ensure that you can get your recommended daily intake of protein of between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, but do not think of a post-workout protein shake as mandatory. And on that note, do not forget that supplements are supplementary and none should be considered mandatory. If you feel strongly that any of these supplements are helpful to you, whether it's through a placebo mechanism or something else, then you can continue to take them. And I am not saying that these supplements are going to halt or hinder your progress. If you want to continue to buy these supplements, support the companies that make them, that is totally fine and you are free to do that. But don't consider them as compulsory and don't think that you have to buy them in order to make progress, because that's simply not the case. Let me know down in the comments below if you've had any experiences with these supplements. I do want to hear your point of view on these things. Also, let me know if there are other supplements that you've tried or supplements that you think would be worth looking into and reviewing on the channel. So thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like this video and subscribe for more content like this. I will see everybody in the next video.